Hi guys, welcome back to module 1, all about mindset, and this is going to be module 3. And in this section, we're going to talk about limiting beliefs, identifying limiting beliefs, why they matter, what they are, and how to change them if they're not something that's benefiting us or serving us going forward. And I love this section and had included in this course because this was a game changer for me once I realized what some of my limiting beliefs were and how they were impacting me and how to change them going forward. So first, let's start off by talking about what are limiting beliefs. Well, you may be able to just guess that based on the information that I've shared earlier on in this module. But beliefs are thoughts on repeat that we believe is true, that our brain literally thinks is fact, but they likely are not. And that we don't even question them because they are so habitual, they are on autopilot, we don't even half the time realize that they are there. And where do they come from? They can come from all sorts of places. They can literally come from something we were told as a child, which many of us have things on repeat that we literally have just had in the back of our brain since we were 2, 3, 4, 5 years old. We started just hearing things from our parents, from our family, and we just literally adopted every single thing as truth. And now we haven't stopped to question all of those things to determine, do we still think they're true? Do we want to keep repeating them to ourselves? And more importantly, are they creating the feelings, driving the actions and the results and helping us create the life that we want? A lot of them are not. And a lot of them, I mean, for myself, probably because I spend so much time in this space, in the health space, is like around eating. You know, like we've all heard that phrase, or a lot of us, like, you have to clean your plate, or kids in whoever knows what continent are starving, like, better eat your food. And it's like, what does that even mean? Does it even make any sense? Absolutely not, because if I throw my food out, someone else is not getting it. Like all of those things that for many, many years we haven't questioned, and now maybe we have them replaying in the back of our mind and they're impacting us in negative ways. So that is, you know, they can come from anywhere. They can come from TV, they can come from magazines, I say, but like, do we read magazines anymore? I guess online. Your friends, the crowds that you spend time with. You could have literally walked by someone and heard something and it just kind of put it into your brain, and now it's a belief that could be possibly limiting you. I know when I was younger, and I think about this all the time, I don't know why, because I don't even really do art anymore. I had a teacher tell me that my artwork was too, I don't even remember the word he used. I can't remember the word, but that I would never make money as an artist. And I literally just took that thought on, and I dropped out of art shortly after that class. And I'm not blaming that on that person, but it was something I didn't even realize it was happening. It became a limiting belief for me, and I no longer practice art. And you know what? Maybe I'm not meant to, clearly, because I'm not. But if we're more aware of those things and what we're taking on from outside sources, then we can really start to question them and really make sure that what we're thinking on a day-to-day basis is what our own thoughts, what we want to be thinking, and something that's actually driving, again, the results that we want. So why do they matter? I kind of already shared this, and going back to what I shared before with the self-coaching, the thought model is every single thing we think creates a feeling, which drives an action or an inaction and produces a result. So I will share with you guys an example from my own life and I've shared this before, so you may have heard the story, is I was really, really struggling after I had my daughter. I had like a little bit of weight I wanted to lose. That wasn't even my biggest issue. I had postpartum depression. I was very, very depressed, and I was miserable. And I didn't understand why I was struggling so much. And I was going to therapy at the time, and she literally had me sit down, and she made me walk through a recent situation, and she's like, what were you thinking in that exact moment when this happened? And I wasn't in coaching. I had just like started getting into coaching, wasn't really aware of like your mindset and how what we think really drives all things. And I'm like, I didn't want to do it. And finally I was able to realize that I was thinking, I can't do this. I can't over and over again. That was my limiting belief that was driving all things in my life at that point. I didn't feel like I could parent. I didn't feel like I could be a good sister, a good wife. I didn't feel like I could lose that 10 pounds that I really wanted to lose. I can't was literally running my life. And I had no idea. I had no idea the power of that one thought that was creating all of the results in my life until I was forced to sit down and evaluate it, which is why I walked you through some of the exercises earlier, the thought download, to actually see what are we thinking in a day-to-day basis. So why that matters so much. So what do we do about these? How do we evaluate them? And what do we do going forward? So I have included a worksheet for identifying limiting beliefs, identifying and challenging limiting beliefs in the file section for you. So your action step is going to be going through that worksheet. But what we can do in the day-to-day is we want to start listening for them. What are we saying and what are we thinking about us and our goals? Since this is all around weight loss, but you can do it in any area of your life. Start paying attention again, thinking about your thinking and becoming aware, the watcher of your thoughts. What are you saying about you? I hear things all the time that people say about themselves. I'm horrible at that. I'm stupid. I'm not any good at this. Those are all limiting beliefs. We can choose to repeat those things and think those things on a day-to-day basis, or we can choose not to. I'm not any good at basketball, but I don't spend my days thinking about it. So we don't really need to program ourselves to think about all of those things that we're not good at in the day-to-day. So that's the first step, is start to make a decision that you want to start looking for anytime that you're saying, negative limiting things about yourself or thinking them. And then the second piece, again, like we've talked about earlier, is we want to question them. We want to look at them like almost in our hands. It's just things like, that's interesting. Is that true? Is it benefiting me? Do I want to continue spending my time on it? Is it driving the results that I want? I promise you it's not, even if you think it might be. It's not. It's another thought that's driving the results that you want. And what do I want to think instead going forward? And we don't want to fight it. We want to let it be there. But when we notice it, we want to start to play around with thinking something differently about it. So again, your action going forward is to complete all the action steps I mentioned forward for this module. But then lastly, the limiting beliefs worksheet that is going to be in the file section. And I didn't mention this before, but you've probably already seen it. There is a workbook that includes kind of the written content of what I've talked about in these videos as well. So you can feel free to go through, reference that as you're